For those that have not watched Mufasa the Lion King, it's in the theaters. Mufasa the Lion King features a new storyline that explores Mufasa's origin story. The movie serves as a prequel to The Lion King 2019 and reveals how Mufasa rose from humble beginnings to become the revered king of the Pride Lands. Now, let me give you a little backstory of Mufasa. Mufasa is a major character in Disney 1994 animated feature film The Lion King. He was a large, powerful lion who once served as king of the Pride Lands. Revered as a wise and noble leader, Mufasa dedicated his reign to upholding the cycle of life and mentoring his only son, Simba, to someday assume the throne. Mufasa's younger brother, Scar, was secretly envious of the king and orchestrated a regicidal coup to steal the throne. Despite his death, Mufasa endures in the memories of his loved ones. His spirit manifests in clouds, stars, and sunlight, which occasionally appeared to guide his descendants. So let's talk about Mufasa the Lion King properly. One morning, the Pride Landers assembled at Pride Rock, where Simba announced that his family was growing, as had been his father's Mufasa's dream. Afterwards, he tasked Timon and Pumbaa with babysitting his younger brother, Kiara, while he joined his mate, Nala, for the birth of their second cub. While Kiara, Timon, and Pumbaa sheltered in a cave, a storm struck, which frightened Kiara. At that moment, Rafiki approached and told her that her father has been afraid of the thunder as a cub, but eventually conquered that fear and roared from the summit of Pride Rock. Kiara expressed doubts that she could ever be like her father or grandfather, and so Rafiki decided to tell her the story of Mufasa's rise to kingship. As a cub, Mufasa lived in a desolate area with his parents, Masego and Afia. One day, his parents told him the story of Milele, a beautiful paradise where there was plenty of food and water. Just then, it began to rain, and the rainwater filled a nearby ravine. Through Mufasa's family, as well as some nearby animals, initially celebrated the change of weather. The rain quickly turned into a flash flood that swept Mufasa away from his parents. After drifting far from his home, Mufasa met a fellow lion cub named Taka, who warned him from the riverbank that he was about to be eaten by crocodiles. In a desperate attempt to escape, Mufasa scrambled up the riverbank, begging Taka for help. Though hesitant to help a stray, Taka pulled Mufasa to safety, with some help from his mother, Eshi. She protested that King Obasi would never accept a stray into their pride, but Mufasa countered that he was simply lost. He then asked which way his home was, and Eshe, overcome by sympathy, decided to bring him before Oba. I approached Obasi's pride alongside Eche and Taka. Obasi resolved to eat him for being a stray and warned him to run away. Mufasa retorted that he was fast, and so Obasi proposed a race between him and Taka, with the prize being either Mufasa's induction into the pride or his death. The two cubs began their race, and though Mufasa initially lagged behind, Taka confessed that he had always wanted a brother and let Mufasa win. Furious, Obasi declared that Mufasa would live with the females, not the males. Afterwards, Mufasa and Taka bonded over their mutual desire to have a brother. Over the seasons, Mufasa honed his hunting skills alongside the females of the pride, while an envious Taka spent his days lunging and lazing with the males. One day, Eche and Mufasa left to hunt, and Taka secretly tailed them, watching from afar. As Eche and Mufasa were hunting, two white lions attacked Eche. While Mufasa leaped to her defense, Taka fled in fear. In the ensuing fight, Mufasa pushed one of the white lions onto the sharp point of a log, killing him, and the other white lion fled. Mufasa guided a wounded Eche back to the pride, and they explained how they had been attacked by white lions, while Obasi told Mufasa that he owed him a great debt. He deliberately ignored Taka's attempt to apologize. Meanwhile, the surviving white lion reported to his lion, Kiros, that his son, Shago, had been killed, and Kiros allowed the rest of the pride to kill the scout for having abandoned his son to die. That night, Obasi told Taka that he must pretend he has been brave rather than run away from the fight with the white lions, adding that deceit was the trait of a great king. Just then, Chigaru reported that the outsiders were coming from Obasi's pride and had twice their numbers. In an effort to preserve his bloodline, Obasi sent Taka away and asked Mufasa to accompany him and pledge loyalty to him. Before the two young lions left, Eche encouraged Mufasa to seek Milele and told Taka that his moment of courage would come. No sooner had Mufasa and Taka ran away from the outsiders, confronted Obasi's pride, and Kiros explained that he was killing every pride in the Valley of Kings so that he could rule everything and everyone. After killing off Obasi's pride, the outsiders chased Mufasa and Taka to the edge of a waterfall. Though Mufasa attempted to stand and fight, Taka knocked them both in the water below and they managed to escape down the river. Afterwards, they met a young lioness named Sarabi, who explained that her own pride has been decimated by the outsiders. She then introduced them to her scout, Zazu. Initially, she was reluctant to travel with the brothers, but with some persuasion from Zazu, she opted to join them. Meanwhile, Rafiki got exiled from his tribe due to his mystical visions. While in search of food, Mufasa, Sarabi, and Taka ran into him and resolved to eat him. Before they could attack him, however, he mentioned that he was in search of his brother Amilele, and Mufasa forbid his companions from harming him. Together, the five set off in search of Milele. That night, Mufasa found Rafiki meditating in the midst of a pond. Rafiki explained that he and his twin brother had been abandoned as infants and persisted that he and Mufasa were not so dissimilar. To Mufasa's surprise, he revealed all he knew about Mufasa, that he was afraid of water and he feared his own reflection, and that he struggled to sleep because of his dreams. Mufasa confessed that he often dreamed of Kiros and his burning hatred over the death of his son. As they spoke, Rafiki caught a fish only to let it go and explain that it had not been the fish time. In the morning, the friends set off again and eventually reached a canyon. Rafiki questioned whether they should go across or down, and Mufasa determined that they should go down, both because it would hide their tracks and because the outsiders were coming for them. Though Sabari initially scoffed at Mufasa's claim that he could detect the outsider's scent, he encouraged her to sniff the air herself, and she soon realized that he was right. Finally convinced, she followed her companions down into the ravine, where they all resolved to travel together as a team. Taka confessed to Mufasa that he had feeling for Sabari, and Mufasa encouraged him to speak with her. Taking his brother's advice, Taka made a clumsy attempt at filtration. Eventually, the outsiders caught up to the group, and Sabari knocked a beehive into a herd of elephants, which incited as a stampede. Though the elephants caused enough chaos to halt the outsiders' pursuit, Sabari got knocked unconscious and was nearly trampled. Upon seeing Sabari in danger, Mufasa dragged her into safety and repeatedly iterated, "I got you." Once the elephants had run off, Rafiki revived Sabari and Mufasa lied that it has been Taka who had saved her life. Continuing on, the group began to scale a snowy mountain. Come nightfall, they settled down to sleep and Mufasa awoke Rafiki meditating, and it asked Rafiki what he was doing, and he replied that he was confirming his vision. Mufasa questioned how many of his visions had actually come true, to which Rafiki revealed that none had come true so far, but that it was about what he felt, not what he saw. Mufasa wondered how Rafiki knew when he should follow a feeling and asserted that his feelings told him that Milele existed. He then asked Mufasa what he felt. The next morning, tire, Mufasa instructed Zazu to hide their tracks so that the outsiders could not follow them. As they were climbing, Mufasa began to carry Rafiki through the snow, during which he remarked, "I got you." Realizing that it had been Mufasa and not Taka who had saved her life, Sabari comforted Mufasa over the lie, though he initially denied it in an attempt to bluster Taka. He eventually caved and the two confessed their love for one another. From a nearby ridge, Taka watched the pair and became inflamed with jealousy because that Mufasa had betrayed him. Suddenly, he fell down a snowy hill, only to realize that the outsiders were nearby, still saying himself to them and fearing camaraderie with Kiros, asserting that Mufasa had killed his father, Obasi, just as he killed Kiros' son. He then offered to help the outsiders follow his friends to Milele. Once Taka had rejoined his friends, Mufasa tried to confess what had transpired between him and Sabari, but Taka interrupted by thanking him for having kept his promise to Obasi and Eshe. He added that he would never forget what Mufasa had done. At that moment, Zazu reported that he had found a way down the mountain. As he spoke, there was a nearby avalanche. And Rafiki remarked that he could feel it. As the friends continued traveling, Taka secretly left a trail of claw marks for the outsiders to follow. Eventually, the group reached Milele and Rafiki revealed that his vision of a brother had in fact been of Mufasa all along. Just then, the outsiders approached and Kiros revealed to Mufasa that Taka had betrayed him. In an attempt to rally support to his cause, Mufasa convinced the animals who lived at Milele to band with him, as the outsiders would simply attack them next, should they succeed in killing Mufasa. While the other animals took on Kiros' pride, Mufasa battled Kiros himself. Though Kiros nearly killed Mufasa, Taka jumped in between them, taking Kiros' blow across his eye. At that moment, an earthquake split the land, forming Pride Rock and causing Mufasa and Kiro to fall into an underwater pool. As the two continued to fight, Mufasa sensed a large boulder falling into the water and hurled Kiros underneath it, killing him. Mufasa started to swim to safety, only for Taka to intercept him and dig his claws into his brother's paws. After a moment of hesitation, Taka pulled Mufasa out of the water. With the outsiders defeated, the animals began hailing Mufasa as their king and Rafiki instead that it was his destiny. As Mufasa walked through the crowd of animals, he picked up the familiar scent and reunited with his mother, who had survived the flood from his childhood. He asked what had happened to his father, and she revealed that he had perished in the flood. The animals then questioned what would become of Taka the traitor, and Mufasa decided to let him remain in Milele, though he refused to speak his brother's name ever again. Accepting Mufasa's decision, Taka suggested that he could called Scar from then on. Accepting Mufasa's decision, Taka suggested that he be called Scar from then on as a reminder of what he had done. With the animals watching, Mufasa ascended the newly formed Pride Rock and roared over his kingdom. After Rafiki finished his story about Mufasa, Kiara finally found the bravery she needed to climb to the top of the cave and roared over the Pride lands. As she did so, the storm cleared and she spotted her parents approaching in the distance. Once she had reunited with them, they introduced her to her brother, to whom she told the story of Mufasa. If you have watched up to this extent, thank you so much for watching. Kindly subscribe to this channel for more videos. Thank you very much.